Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us at the market site in Times Square, we have Dave Rudd. He is the president of 280 CapMarkets. We're going to take a look at how financial advisors can buy, sell, and manage bond portfolios. Dave, it's great to have you with us at Market Site, and it's really interesting, the conversation around modernizing fixed income markets.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. We've seen a tremendous amount of changes over the last 10 years, and it's a combination of technology catching up with the equity markets, and it's a combination of the new regulatory environment we're in.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of market structure developments in fixed income markets. Tell us about that, because that's been a big topic of conversation, particularly around national conferences and other fixed income specialists I speak with. Tell us about that and where 280 CapMarket fits in.
Absolutely, and thank you for asking. We're seeing a new methodology for trading. We're seeing smart order routing. We're seeing the exchanges are becoming connected by several different platforms. The custodians, for example, have connected exchanges. We're also seeing in this regulatory environment a big push towards the fiduciary model, and where an advisor, for example, is managing money and they're not doing it on a fee basis, they're doing it on a commission basis, they're now required to demonstrate best execution. So what we're seeing now is, through the connectivity of these disparate exchanges and alternative trading systems, better pricing, better access, and really it's a fairer marketplace for everybody involved, and that's really where we've stepped in. We've created a universal marketplace that connects the various exchanges, also connects the buy side and sell side. So effectively what we're doing is taking all of what we see in the capital markets and we're making it accessible.
All right, let's talk more about trends in trading bonds and growth in corporate bonds and munis. I'm interested to hear how the fixed income marketplace is transitioning and accepting this new norm where everything's becoming digitized, modernized, electronified. The bond market has typically not been like that. How do you think they're receiving it? And tell us where you're seeing the pockets of growth in corporates and munis.
Yeah, it's still an over-the-counter market. We are seeing some new endeavors into creating more of an equity-like quoted market. We'll see if that takes shape. It's challenging when you consider there are 4 or 5 million active CUSIPs and bonds compared to 80,000, 85,000 ticker symbols in stocks. But we are also seeing, algorithmic trading, auto trading, routing of orders to the lowest cost platform. And so it's becoming fully digitized, and that landscape has shifted really for the banks in particular, where they don't need the same type of infrastructure to cover their accounts.
Right, because traditionally it would have taken teams of people to move large blocks of bonds, because they don't trade like single shares of stocks. I mean, it's not something that was instantaneous. It could take weeks or even months until your CUSIP was made available for someone on the other side. Now it doesn't sound like that anymore. Absolutely.
We're seeing that, and we're seeing the automation of what we would call odd lot trades. Mm-hmm. So under $1 million, for example, several of the larger institutions are automating those transactions. But we're still finding that over 80% of block trades are happening either through voice or instant messaging. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't changed yet, but I think that we'll see some meaningful developments in the future. All
right, let's talk about tools for investment advisors interested in trading bonds and what they can find on the 280 Market Cap platform.
Yeah, thank you. What we've created is an aggregation of all of the pricing that we find across the exchanges and direct from buy side and sell side. And around that, the biggest issue is not, can I trade a bond electronically or can I trade a bond for a low cost? It's, am I getting that bond at the right price? And am I selecting from the biggest pool of bonds available? And so what we've created is this aggregation, or this marketplace, and then several tools that we've developed around context and pricing information. So when you identify a bond that looks attractive, we're going to show you all the relevant pricing around that bond. And what happens is you identify a bond that looks attractive, and then you find 3 or 4 other bonds that might even be more attractive. The value add that we're providing behind that technology as well is, once you submit a limit order to us for a bond, we go out and we get that bond at the best possible price. So if you sent us an order to buy a bond at 102, we're going to try to buy that bond at 101. And if we do, our model is we share that with you. So we would actually fill your order at 101 and a half. You would save a half, we would make a half. That's our model, that's how we make money. So we are always aligned with our clients on every order.
All right, thank you so much for joining us at Market Site.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.